I turned off my air conditioner for this, so I hope you guys appreciate the sacrifices made for content. I saw the tag 5 perfumes you love and 5 you hate going around. Even though my channel's too small to have been tagged in it, I thought I would go ahead and join in anyway, just for fun. These are mostly off the cuff. It's not 5 my favorite of all time perfumes. It's just 5 I love and 5 I definitely hate. I figured we'd start with the negative. A theme I found in the ones I hate is that they often contain notes that I otherwise like, but just done so wrong. And I don't own any bottles except one of perfumes I hate. So these are all samples. First up is Memo Sintra. I really like Orange Flower and Neroli, but this is just so sickeningly sweet. I've sprayed it on a card here. It's like marshmallow, orange, Neroli, which can be nice, but it's just so thick and syrupy. I remember wearing this when I first sampled it on a hot day, and it was just churning my stomach. Number 2 in a similar category, Francesca Bianchi Sex and the Sea Neroli. Again, being a Neroli fan, I thought I would try this. I'll spray each of these, which I might regret later, just to remember. So Sintra I already had sprayed here. At first I thought maybe I was being unfair, I hadn't worn it in a year. So I wanted to spray it again to make sure, and right away I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely hate that. Oh, Sex and the Sea Neroli. I just smelled again too. Oh, it's so wrong. I guess the sexy part, the animalistic part, reminds me of like wax. And it's like there's kind of a pretty Neroli wanting to come out, but under this just weird, fake, waxy, synth leather nastiness. It really smells like kind of ocean dregs, but also like tires, rubber tires. Yeah, some of her perfumes are okay, but when they're bad, they're bad. And this one has a lot of fans, but you know, I guess it's to your taste. The following one comes from probably my most regretted discovery set ever. I splurged $100 for this Nichonnet. It's a good lesson to not listen to YouTubers, because without YouTube I probably never would have heard of this brand at all. But for a minute there it was just making the rounds. I'm sure everybody was getting sent free bottles, and I was bored. It was during the pandemic, pre-vaccine, and I had no other way to try them, so I spent too much money on this. I don't like any of them. Edge, I'm not sure. It's maybe the best. It's a blue fragrance, but it's pretty interesting for blue. Ani is all right. Oolong Cha is all right, but a lot of them are atomically strong and sweet. And Karagaz takes the cake for the most annoying, most haunting test strip. Oh look, it's not even in there. I don't know, I might have thrown it away. I don't know where I put it. Oh, I took it out already. When I tried this, as you can see, I've just barely tried this. That test strip sat in my room and it haunted me from across the room. I threw it in the garbage in the bathroom and it haunted me from the bathroom. Every time I would go in the bathroom, I'd smell this awful juice. So I might regret this. I might have to take this outside. Yeah, it's got the blue kind of Aventus men's cologne freshness, but also this disturbing, I've heard other people, so I can't take credit for this, grape soda, which I can agree with. And it just goes on and on. It smells like a very cheap car air freshener, like overly pungent, synthetic attempt at freshness. To be honest, smelling it right now, it's not as bad as I had remembered it, but I think maybe it's the dry down that just goes on and on and on. It smells a bit like kind of just general cheap men's cologne type scent profile, but a lot sweeter and grape. No bueno, not good at all. Yeah, this brand really doesn't speak to me. And final sample, again, one that contains a note I like that's ruined by a note I don't like to stomach turning effect. Eau de Protection by Etat Libre d'Orage. I've also bought this sample box of this brand, and I didn't find anything I wanted to buy when I was done with it. It's a rose and blood accord, and it has its fans among people I really respect as well, but that metallic blood accord churns my stomach. It's otherwise kind of a sweet, jammy rose. I think what gets me the most is when there's something I like, but then just like churns slightly off. That's almost worse than something that's just outright bad or disgusting. That's easier to dismiss, but here it's like, oh, yeah, I don't know how people get past that metallic note. It really smells like blood. It almost gives me a feeling in my teeth when I smell it. Oh, yeah, it's way too disturbing. I think the rose aspect is nice, but like having that niceness, it's like a flower bed, covered in shit. It's just worse than if it was all by itself. But there's a real, sharp metallic thing that really smells like the way blood tastes in your mouth. It's really, really gross. And there's a lot of perfumes and samples I have that I just simply don't like. I find meh. But these are ones I can, easily say I hate them. Anyway, more positive notes. Didn't want to even waste a tester on spraying these again. The last one I hate. I do have a bottle, and I recognize its importance, but it had its time for me. That time is over. La Male. And this I've never looked at the batch code. This might be the first release. I bought this at an airport in France, thinking it was like something you could only find in France as a teenager. And I wore it as a teenager, and I displayed this on my bathroom counter, much to the derision of my older brother. And I loved it then, and I still think it's an interesting and totally unique scent profile, but it reached such a high peak popularity smelling it in clubs, just smelling it wafting off people, that I just became really sick of it, to the point where I actually don't want to spray this again. There's a good amount left. This is at least 20 years old. And it also contains kind of all the notes that I still don't like to this day. I don't like powder, I don't like sweet, I don't like vanilla. And that's basically what this is: powder, sweet, vanilla, lavender. And this original just had monster sillage and an unmissable trail. I think that's kind of the secret behind these blockbusters like Baccarat Rouge as well. They can't be confused for anything else. For that, I give it credit, but yeah, I can say now I hate this perfume. I hate this smell now. Okay, on to some loves. The loves I all have bottles of. First one, a little shout out. I just caught Galen's live stream going over these. I don't think he knows who I am, but I enjoy his channel a lot. Although watching his 5 loves and 5 hates, I realized we couldn't have more opposite taste. But one of his hates is one of my recent loves. Frederic Malle Music for a While. You can see I've been torn on it because I only have this, but just yesterday I finished my sampler, and I'm moving on to this 10 ml. And I've been trying it since it first came out, and at first I thought it was interesting but not super wearable. But each time I wear it again, I find more and more interest in it. It smells weirdly now. I've never done these, but it smells like poppers, and I don't really know what poppers smell like, but they smell like I imagine they would smell. So maybe it's that synthetic sweetness, almost like a sex shop at first. I know that's a really weird association, but it works great in all temperatures. Actually, I found it really nice in the middle of winter because it's pretty strong, but in super high heat, it's actually not too sweet. It doesn't go too sweet for me. And the dryness of the lavender and the juiciness of the pineapple keeps it fresh, and it can actually last in the most hot, humid days. So I actually really enjoyed this in the hot weather because it didn't disappear, but it also didn't become cloying or overwhelming. So I might have to get a full bottle finally of Music for a while. We'll stick with Frederic Malle. This one, again, my loves right now are probably influenced by the weather, so they lean fresh. Eau de Magnolia. The only Frederic Malle I have finished a 50 ml bottle the year I bought it, or the summer I bought it. I didn't have a ton of perfumes back then. I wore it nearly every day, and first and only time I just like shot through a whole bottle in a season. And you can see my 100 ml is pretty depleted, but indispensable in the summer. Any time of year, it has a warm enough dry down. It can work in cooler weather too. One downside, it is very light, and in high heat, it tends to just vaporize. But I notice on days when I'm indoors all day, I can easily smell it all day. It's very quiet and skin scent. Like, the opening is very bracing, lemony. I think people who don't like it maybe find it a bit close to cleaner smell, but I love it. I find that it's so light but super nuanced. Like, there's a lot going on despite its light airiness, and a surprisingly long-lasting base, as long as you don't go sweat it off. You'll see again, I tend to be loyal to a few brands. I always go wrong kind of trying out other stuff I've heard about, but the brands I love, I always tend to go right. So Frederic Malle, Chanel, number 19, but the Parfum. I got to try this during a Chanel sampling thing at the Atelier Butte. Otherwise, I never would have kind of had the Parfum on my radar. I love the EDP and the EDT, but the Parfum is really something else. It's much creamier, less sharp, and the base is much heavier on the vetiver, so it lasts really long, turns into a very vetiver-centric scent. But the opening, there's just these really amazing creamy florals that I don't get in any other concentration. This Parfum I haven't even opened. I was lucky to get it because from that event you get to choose a sample, and it's a decent size, and I chose this, and I'm still using that up before I open this. But I love this. Every time I smell it at first, and it's like swooning all over again. The other fragrance that does it to me is another Chanel, the first large bottle of Chanel I bought, Bella Respiro. This again is the kind of thing that every time I spray it, no matter how many times I've worn it, I just think, wow, why do I wear anything else? Beautiful green, stemmy, twiggy. And again, it's those creamy florals that get me. Sort of, you can't put your finger on it, but the abstract amalgamation of Chanel florals that give a creaminess and a warmth and a texture to it. And I think also there's a decent amount of ambrette in the base to this one. So again, it starts, pretty fresh and bracing. Sometimes I even detect a bit of mint in the greenness, but then it becomes quite warm and cuddly in the base. And my final love, again, another fresh leaning one, Hermes Rose Ikebana. This one I actually finished a travel vial. I started my kind of exploration of the Hermescence by getting the 4 travel sprays, and this was one of them. I just finished that this week, and you can see there's also a decent dent in the bottle itself. It's the kind of thing, it's just such a happy perfume, such a happy smell, tart, bracing, grapefruit, rose, and then Jean-Claude Elena loves to use these spices on the base, so the longevity really comes from some woody hum, probably of ISO-E, that's pretty obvious in this one, and pepper, quite a lot of pepper I get in this one. So it's the kind of thing I can wear it over and over and never get sick of it, because it has all these facets and it's not overwhelming. And again, a lot of these probably the heaviest wear is this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this is the lightest. But all of these, wear fairly transparent and airy, but long lasting to me. And that's the kind of thing I like. In winter, I might have a different set of loves that come to mind, but this is just kind of looking through the cabinet, stuff that I instantly know I love. I also try to choose things that weren't super obvious. It would be easy to say hates like Sauvage and, those mass appealing things that everybody hates. We all know we hate those. So I try to pick things that, not everyone's talking about. And same for the loves. Try to not pick overly obvious perfumes and be too redundant with what a lot of other people are saying. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what your hates and loves are as well. And whether you hate or love these, it's all love. Everyone has different tastes. And I certainly watch reviewers who love all of the things I hate in this video, and that's fine. All right, have a good day.